"This is junk. It should have been buried with him," my mother said, dropping the little green book into the trash like it was dirt under her nails. We were still in our funeral clothes. My grandfather's urn hadn't even cooled. And there she was, rummaging through his drawers like a yard sale. I didn't say anything, just waited until she and my aunt got distracted arguing over a grandfather clock, then pulled the book out of the trash with both hands. It wasn't dusty.
It was pristine.
And my name was on the last page. "Hi, my name is Olivia. I was the only one who ever listened to my grandfather. When I was a kid, I used to sit by his recliner while he whispered old stories and handed me butterscotch candies. Everyone else rolled their eyes at him. But I saw something else, someone quietly watching, quietly remembering. The next morning, I went to the bank listed on the cover. The man at the front desk flipped through the booklet. His eyes scanned the ledger, and then stopped.
He stood.
His voice low, sharp. "Stay right here. I need to get my manager." Minutes later, a stiff-looking man in a suit arrived, looked at the last page, and froze. "Call the police. Don't go anywhere." The bank manager's voice dropped when he saw my face. "You're Olivia Ward?" I nodded slowly. He motioned me into a small office, shut the door, and tapped a button on the phone. "Security, stand by." My pulse was pounding, but I didn't speak. I just handed him my ID. He studied it, matched it to the name scrawled in sharp, careful cursive on the last page of the savings book. Then he turned the booklet toward me. "Do you know what this is?" he asked. I shook my head. "This account was opened 22 years ago. Your grandfather deposited the same amount every month. We lost track after he moved the records off-site until today." He pulled up a screen,
Typed. Paused.
then turned it toward me. $1,803,427.56. The number sat there like it wasn't real. But the kicker? Beneficiary, Olivia Ward. He leaned back. "This account is flagged." It triggered an alert. Not because of the amount, because 2 weeks ago, someone tried to access it. Illegally.
My mouth went dry.
Who?
He slid a photo across the desk.
It was a still from a security camera. The date stamp said 1 week before Grandpa's stroke. And standing there, caught mid-signature with her back to the camera, was my mother. I stared at the photo. The hair, the purse, the rings. All unmistakable. My mom had tried to forge access to Grandpa's account while he was still alive. Before his final stroke, before the hospital, before the long goodbye where she cried louder than anyone else. The manager watched me carefully. "We're not pressing charges yet, but we're opening a fraud investigation. We needed you to confirm identity. You're the only legal heir listed." I asked quietly, "What happens now?" He passed me a pen and a sealed envelope. "Now, you decide what to do." Inside the envelope was a notarized letter from my grandfather, dated 8 months ago. "Olivia, if you're reading this, it means I trusted right. The others will come clawing like they always have. Don't let them bury what's real under noise. This is for your future, not theirs. You always listened. That matters more than you know." I walked out of that bank shaking. Outside, my phone buzzed. "Mom, where are you? Did you take that stupid booklet?" Then a second message. "Come home now." I didn't reply. I turned the corner, stepped into a quiet coffee shop, and sat down with the letter in my hand. For the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. I didn't go home. Instead, I checked into a small motel on the edge of town. Paid in cash. No paper trail. My mom knew too many people at the bank, at the courthouse, even the post office. She'd always known how to pull strings. That night, I reread Grandpa's letter 5 times. Every line felt like he was sitting beside me, like he knew exactly what would happen. I remembered the night before the funeral. The way my mom kept laughing too loud, calling the whole event a boring obligation. The way she snapped at the florist. The way she casually tossed Grandpa's reading glasses in the trash, the ones he wore every day.
She didn't want to bury him.
She wanted to erase him. The next morning, I made a quiet call to the attorney listed in the letter. He answered in a warm, gravelly voice. "Miss Ward, Your grandfather told me you might reach out. I told him what happened.
He wasn't surprised.
He came to me when his health started slipping, the lawyer said. He had one condition. No one sees a dime unless they prove they actually loved him. My voice cracked. How would you prove that? He paused. You just did. That afternoon, I met the lawyer in his office. He looked like someone from a Norman Rockwell painting, vest, pocket watch, glasses too big for his face. But his mind was sharp as glass. He handed me a second envelope. Your grandfather left very specific instructions. He wrote letters to everyone in the family, but he asked you to decide when or if they're delivered. I blinked. Me? He nodded. He trusted your judgment. Entirely. Inside were 6 sealed letters. One had my mother's name in handwriting I recognized instantly. I took them, heart pounding. Can I read them?
No, he said.
That was his rule. You decide who gets them, but you can't open them. It felt like I was holding a fuse in my hands. 6 lives, 6 truths, 6 memories he didn't want buried. Later that evening, I sat in the motel with the letters spread out in front of me. I knew what he was doing. He wasn't giving me money. He was giving me power. The kind you can't buy, threaten, or fake. The kind that comes with knowing the truth and choosing silence when everyone else would choose a scream. I picked up the one with my mother's name, and quietly, I burned it. The next day, the messages turned into calls, then voicemails, then threats. You stole from the family. That money was meant for all of us. You're just like your father, selfish and small. That last one cut deeper than I expected. My dad had left when I was 9. They always said it was his fault, that he didn't care about me. But in that moment, I wondered, had they pushed him out too? My mom called again at 2 a.m. this time crying. Olivia, come home. We need to talk. I didn't think he'd actually give you everything. And there it was. Everything. Not just the account. The house. The land. The letters. The authority. She'd read the will. And now she was scared. I didn't respond. I walked to the dresser, pulled out the envelope with my aunt's name. She'd raised me more than my mother ever had. She wasn't perfect, but she was honest. She showed up. I mailed it that morning. No return address. 3 days later, she called me sobbing. She'd found photos, a necklace she thought was lost, and a note from Grandpa that said, "You never lied to her. That mattered." That was the day I finally cried. By the end of the week, I had delivered 4 of the 6 letters. Each one came with a ripple. One cousin called and said nothing but "thank you" before hanging up. Another sent a voicemail sobbing. He always knew what they did to me. The 5th letter was addressed to someone I didn't recognize, a woman named Lorraine Whitman in Vermont. I asked the lawyer. He only smiled and said, "That one's not yours to question, but it will explain everything." I mailed it anyway. And then came the 6th envelope. Blank. No name. Just a wax seal. I asked the lawyer again. He looked me straight in the eye. "That one is for you, but only when you're ready to forgive." I didn't open it. I tucked it in my suitcase. That night, I visited Grandpa's grave. I hadn't been back since the funeral. I sat with him for a long time, fingers resting on the cool stone. "I found what you left," I whispered. "I'm not scared anymore." A breeze moved through the trees like someone exhaling. Or maybe that was just me, finally letting go. Behind me, headlights slowed near the gates. And I knew before I even turned my mother had found me. She stepped out of the car slowly, like she didn't know how to walk without being watched. For once, she looked small. Not fragile, just uncertain. "Olivia," she said softly. "You ignored every message, every call." I nodded, because I had nothing to say. She looked past me at the grave. "He gave you everything." "No," I said. "He gave me a choice. That's not the same." She tried to laugh, but it fell flat. "What did he write about me?" I met her eyes.
Calm.
Measured. "Nothing. I burned your letter." Her face twisted. "You what?" I didn't need to read it. I lived it. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. You think this is revenge? No, I said. Revenge would have been mailing your letter with a crowd watching. I reached into my pocket and held up the final envelope, still sealed. This is all that's left.
For me.
When I'm ready to forgive. She looked at it like it might explode.
Will you? She asked.
I don't know. I replied, honest. But I'm not handing down pain just because it was handed to me. She didn't answer. She just got in the car and drove away. I stayed a little longer, watching the wind move through the trees.